morning, Camp Gymmers. My name's Tony Masurka, and I'm the director out here at Camp Gym. And this morning I have the opportunity to share a little bit with you about one of my favorite characters in the Bible. His name is Moses. And I relate a lot to Moses because, like Moses, I was not always a Christian, not always a follower of God. And God just patiently has walked through life with me over the many years. And so I want to share a little bit about his account with God in the wilderness. Now keep in mind, this is the Moses that had been raised in Pharaoh's court. We recall the story of how he was saved when the Egyptians were killing off all the Jewish boys, and how he was put in the river in a papyrus raft, we'll call it, and he was picked out of the river by the princess of Egypt and was raised in Pharaoh's court for 40 years. So this man had quite an education, probably was a leader in some rights. Some historians believe that he actually was a very prominent general in the Egyptian army at a time. I don't see that written here in the scriptures, but you can take that as you will. Moses ended up committing murder. He got ahead of God in wanting to protect his people. He always knew that he was an Israelite. And so he ended up committing murder and ended up fleeing from Egypt and hiding in the wilderness, so to speak. And during that time, he ended up getting married. And just kind of neat that he ended up being a shepherd. And so here you have Moses. He's on the Mount of Horeb, and he has this encounter with God. And this is just kind of indicative of what it's like to have a relationship with God, that this is not just a God that says, do what I say or I'll smite you, but this is a God that invites us into a relationship with him. So God approaches Moses through a burning bush, and they have this dialogue where God basically is saying to Moses, I want you to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, out of captivity. I'm hearing their cries. It's time for them to go. And Moses, I've chosen you to do this. And what I want to focus on today, it comes from chapter 3 and 4, and it's a dialogue between Moses and God, and 5 excuses Moses had for not following what God had to say. And I think a lot of us can relate to that today. I know I can. So we're going to start with the first one here, and we'll start in chapter 3, verse 9. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. So God and Moses have had this dialogue for a while now, and he's gotten to the point. He said, I've heard what's going on in Egypt. I want to lead my people out. Moses, I've chosen you, so go do it. But Moses, he hesitates, and he says this, but Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Who am I? I can relate to Moses a lot in this statement, because when I was asked to be the camp director here at Camp Gym in 2004, I had no desire to be a camp director. I was an assistant director at Miracle Bible Camp in Longville, and I was enjoying my job. I was doing programs and maintenance, and things were going pretty smooth. And God was asking me to give that up and come to Camp Gym, to something I was not familiar with and way out of my comfort zone. But God responded to Moses this way, and he responded to me the same way. And God said, I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. When we become Christians, God just doesn't offer us this ticket to heaven. He offers us a relationship here on earth. He says, I want to walk with you. I will be with you. I will never leave nor forsake you. He's not just saying, here, get out of hell free card. He's saying, I'll get you out of hell and bring you salvation, but I'm also going to walk with you in this life. And that's what God's saying to Moses right now, is that I'm not just sending you to Egypt to redeem my people. I'm going to go with you to Egypt to redeem my people. But Moses isn't done, and with good understanding. I mean, I wouldn't be very comfortable going to the country where I was a wanted felon. The next excuse Moses has is this. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? Well, God answers this pretty straightforward. He said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you'll say to the Israelites. I am has sent you. The Lord also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. I'm going to stop there. Tomorrow, or in a couple days, we're going to go over the next 3 excuses Moses had. But I just want you to think about when you enter in a relationship with Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, that's just the first part of that relationship. The second part is getting to know this God that promised to walk with you in this life. Right now, we're going through a pandemic. There's a lot of confusion out there. But for those of you that have a relationship with Jesus Christ and you're walking with Him, you can know that God is aware of what's going on, God is actively involved in what's going on, and God promises to be with you throughout all this. And I hope as we close that you'll be thinking on this tonight, and I just want to encourage you that God does care. God does have a plan, and we can rely on that. We'll look forward to seeing you later this week.